tired from the haul across campus.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. What other classes do you have today?
I just have one more. I have management information systems.
Oh, I think we talked about that last time. Yeah.
And then this morning I had accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you have classes on Friday too?
Yeah, I have classes Friday.
Okay. Till what time?
I have it from like 12:40 to 4.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's a full Friday. Oh.
Yeah, but
You'll have to learn next year, like if you could keep
Yeah.
Fridays clear, or if there's just a few classes. I think I remember like my junior and senior year, I was finally able to gauge it so that I don't think I had classes on Friday for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh goodness.
It's hard, but it's okay.
Do you have spring break plans?
Not yet.
Not yet. Different things in the hopper. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, did you manage to get some practice time? Were
Yeah,
they able to
I
get you
did.
get your room and all
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I can use the room I think 3 times a week.
Okay,
So
that's
I
at
was-
least something.
Yeah, I was able to go twice.
Okay.
I had one of my days I had a test on Monday during one of the times. So, but
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, so-
awesome.
yeah.
Well, that'll
A little
help
bit.
a lot, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, well, let's take a look. We can kind of review some of this stuff and anything that you might, have questions about too. Did you go through some of the stuff that we went through last time? Like, was any of it, is all of it kind of gelling a little bit, or did you mostly practice the piece of rep that we have?
I practiced that and then I practiced.
Kind of looked at some of this
Yeah,
stuff.
I was just going
Okay.
through.
Any
it.
questions about any of it? Because again, I know you've got a background, but I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. We didn't quite get over here, I don't think. We were kind of more in this section. Okay, why don't we warm up a little bit? Just warm up our hands a little bit. Why don't we do Jingle Bells?
Okay.
And just looking at it, I know last time we were talking about intervals some, and again, to me, it's the fastest and best way to read, especially if we have something in the left hand like this, that's just this block of what we would call harmonic intervals, right? Melodic intervals are gonna be intervals between 2 distinct notes, and then harmonic intervals, meaning intervals that kind of make a harmony or almost a chord, they're gonna be intervals played at the same time. So if we just look at this, we've got space note, skipping a space, landing on the next space, that's a fifth. What's that? Right, so we've got fifths straight across, and they're pretty distinct looking. It could be that those could be line to line also, but it's kind of always that skipping one line or space and landing on the next one that forms that fifth. And then where do we go here? Yes, and again, the finger numbers will be a little bit of a hook, but I think even if we took those away, you can see it's the interval's diminishing some. Do we have any other do we have anything other than a fourth or a fifth in this left hand?
In this piece or just?
Yeah, no, yeah, of course we do. Yeah, yes, just in Jingle Bells. You're good. Don't always trust your first instinct, Isabel. You know so much more than you think you do.
Yeah.
But no, we just have fifths and fourths, and then of course when we get down here, we've got single notes, but that's just our thumb and then our fifth. Good. So just for fun, just to keep it real basic and just, I know you're not getting much practice time, let's have you do left hand on those nice open intervals. And can you find where your hand position's gonna be for that left hand? Yes, I think you're doing a lot of stuff in there. This one's actually not, but you were really smart. No, because this is what the classical piece you're doing is on. It starts with your thumb on middle C, right?
Yeah.
So look here, what's that say for your thumb?
Oh, G.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Excellent job. Okay. All right, 1, 2, left hand starts. Again. Good job. Excellent. Now to 1 and 4. Yeah. Fifth. 4. To thumb. Excellent. Fifth. That's it. Excellent. Good job. 4. exactly. That's why that was a little bit,
Mhm.
it moved a little faster on beat 1 and then again on beat 3. Perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, now let's just change hands. Let's have you do right hand and I'll play left hand with you.
Okay.
We're doing a great job of keeping it really steady.
Mhm.
Anything we want to look out for here? I mean, we've pretty much marked it in. We've got, right, we're kind of skipping up, moving by thirds and then down a fifth. And then what do these last 3 notes of the phrase do? Step or skip?
Step.
Yes, they just step right up. And again, we can see that line, space, line. They're stepping up. Perfect. Let's give it a try. Did that tempo feel okay?
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, starting with 3. Good job. Good. So if you can push your eyes ahead. Good. Excellent. That's it. That's it, yeah, excellent, good. And you can use your ear there too.
Yeah.
One thing that you're doing really well is you've got a really nice natural hand position. We haven't talked too much about that, but you're playing with rounded fingers and you actually have really nice strong fingers, which is really good. Yeah, exactly. You want to avoid, I wasn't looking at your hand, and so don't take this because I don't think you were doing it, but you want to avoid any collapsing and any flat fingers. I think too, all the practice rooms have a piano, or at least you, okay, that I think that's just better for the development of your hand. Okay, so now we're gonna put it all together. Let's take it a little bit slower, like just for fun and just to kind of go over our rhythm a little bit.
Okay.
Let's count and tap on our legs, both hands, but at a little bit of a slower tempo, the tempo you're gonna play. And since we're trying to get everything together and keep a nice steady rhythm, we'll slow it down. Let's try like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's just tap and count out loud that first line, both hands tapping as they would play. 1, 2, count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Perfect. Okay, so let's see if we can do about that tempo. You felt a little bit of the coordination of it in your body. Where are you going to put your hand?
For right or left?
Just both.
Oh, okay.
You got it, good. And are you, I'm sorry, I might just try to, yeah, sit where you're nice and comfortable right in the middle of the bench. That's great. Okay, 1, 2, I'll count you off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, push your eyes ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Almost. That's it. Good job. Excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Uh-huh. 4, 1, 2. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's like you coast along, and then as soon as the rhythm kind of changes, and that's totally understandable. So, can you think of, and I don't know how your years of violin might have served you here, but like if you're practicing and you come to a little part that's glitchy like that, can you think of what you would do to kind of iron it out and solve it, like practicing wise?
Just like practice that one.
Yeah,
section.
exactly. Practice that little section and try to just isolate what the issue is. I think for you, the issue was just real simple. It was the same thing here. It's just knowing that you're going to your thumb in your left hand part. And so I would just write it in with my pencil. And so now, just try left hand here. 1, 2, starting on a fourth. 1, 2 on a thumb, now to a fifth. One more time. Fourth, now to your thumb, now to a fifth. Excellent job. And I think probably what some of the issue is again going to be your thumb against your right hand fourth finger. So another thing that you can kind of do is we're gonna play ya da da, and we're gonna stop right there on beat 3 with our 4th finger and our thumb. So go ahead and put your right hand up there. 1, 2, starting on 5. Stop. Beautiful. One more time. Beautiful. And now we're gonna play 5, 5, or G, G, F, D, C. We'll do the whole phrase, or the whole little measure. 1, 2, starting on 5. It's okay, Murphy's Law. Good job. One more time. 1, 2. Here we go. 2. Yeah, excellent. That's it. Very good. Yeah. So again, I'm just trying to show you 2 minutes with this and you'd have it fixed, but I'm just trying to show you some healthy practice habits too. I mean, one thing that you want to avoid, which I'm 100% guilty of and have to really have the self-discipline to do myself, don't back up and because at that point you're hoping to get lucky, and then what ends up happening is you end up practicing mistakes. And so it really is a lot more bang for your time if you can kind of tease out mentally what the issue is. Okay, awesome. So we've got seconds, we've got thirds, we've got fourths, we've got fifths. Just to make sure, again, and to practice a little bit identifying these. Let me just see if there was a song somewhere that had, we're going to be talking about our 1 and 5, 7 chords here in a minute, but before we do that, I wanted to see if there was anything that had a good amount of intervals for us to look at. Well, let's just go back here maybe. Okay, so what's that interval? Excellent. Very good. Good. Let's go. How about this one? Yeah, a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So again, thirds have that kind of distinctive look, a lot like fifths, you know. And then fourths and seconds are always line to space or space to line. So yeah, that's fourth. And then we'll,
Fourth, third.
Excellent job.
Third, second, third.
Excellent. And last one?
Fourth,
Yes.
fifth, fourth, fifth.
Good. Now, just for fun, let's play a couple of them. So if I played this note and asked you to play a second above, where would that land? Yeah, you got it. Good. How about a second below? Right. And you can see it's an interesting thing, I think, that seconds kind of look like on the page, like they're tight, you know, look at that. They're like stacked right up against each other, and the sound is very tight and very close together. So now play a third above. Beautiful. A fourth below. Very good. A fifth above. Yeah. And now a fifth below. Right, so we're skipping 3. Perfect. Now, let's just play what we just read. And again, we're starting in C position, so see if you can find that same, exactly. It's going to be just like Jingle Bells. You can go ahead and get both hands in position. Very good. And tell me, as you're just looking at the line, what note remains in place the whole time for the right hand? Yeah, so that tells us it's going to be the top part of our hand that's expanding or contracting, right? And then how about for the left hand? Is it different or the same note? Yeah, it's another C. So again, that tells us that each time we're going back to our 5 in our left hand or our thumb in our right hand. 1, 2, our right hand starts. Excellent. Left. Yes. That's it. Good. Yeah. Take your time. Yes. Good. And we're going to stay on that 5. Keep going. You're doing great. Now this one changes. Now it's not our thumb that stays. It's our, take a minute, wrap your head around what's going on. Yes, our 5 that stays. Good. Go ahead and play that third. You got it. Yeah. So I love doing exercises like this because it points out a lot of times to students the complexity of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Depending on, how your brain is put together. Some people think very mathematically, so they're thinking 3, 4, 3 in terms of the third. And sometimes that lines up with your fingers, like third finger, fourth finger, third finger. But then it doesn't all the time. So there's that. Then you also might be thinking shapes, like here I am on a third, now I'm expanding, now I'm contracting, there's a lot going on. And then there's just the feel of using your body differently. And that's a lot of times, I think we talked about your right hand dominant.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. And then you used your right hand just to bow and stuff with violin. Yeah. So I know some of the left hand stuff might feel a little bit more awkward, but again, it kind of shows you the different layers. There's understanding what you're playing, and then there's the physicality of playing and bridging all that. But good, excellent job. Okay, so intervals are important because that's what happens when we start putting together these chords. And I think we talked a little bit last time about chords, and did we talk some about the circle of fifths? Can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I think you'd remember if we did.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't do that quite yet. Okay, so you can see we're going to start just building some chords. Another name for chord is triad. You heard of that before? Triad just has that tri in it, like tricycle, think 3. So at its very most basic thing, a chord is going to be 3 notes stacked in thirds. And when it all lines up and it does this little thing where it's actually stacked in thirds and looks like line note, line note, line note, or space note, space note, space note, we call that a chord that's in root position. And the very bottom note is going to name our chord. So just think we're stacking thirds. So let's try it. Go ahead and see if you can build a C major chord, where you're just going to start with your thumb on C. Yeah, good. And you try with 5, 3, 1. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. So we start with C, we're going up a third, and then we're going up another third, right? And that fits really nicely under the hands. And we'll talk about the quality, because you can also have a minor chord that's going to have that minor third. So now see if you can build for me a G major triad. Yeah, excellent. That's a G major triad. And again, this lowest note is naming the chord right now. Now can you build for me an F major triad? Yeah, excellent job. So F is now our root, and we just go in thirds. Now, C, F, and G are all white chords, right? And so we're gonna, as we start learning other keys and other home bases, we'll start adding some sharps. But they're kind of nice right away, because in the context of the key of C, where C is our home note, all those chords are going to be white key chords. So we don't have to worry about sharps or flats quite yet. Okay, so we've got our C major chord, and you'll hear it's a whole lot like Jingle Bells, right? Only now we're adding thirds. And so instead of this that we had, I'm just filling it out a little bit. So now I'm actually going to play the whole, you hear that richer texture? Yeah, so let's just get used to, because your left hand has a little bit more work to do in terms of just getting comfortable playing 3 notes. So same thing on Brother John. Let's just give our C chord a try in that left hand. Yeah, and we'll just beat it out. Again, we're in 4/4 time, so that top note is telling us. Let's just play the first line and left hand only, so you can feel what it's like. And the only thing I'd encourage you to do is to, you're going to hold your chord for 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then try to pick it up completely before you go down again, so it makes a sound. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. You got that very easily. Take a look at the right hand part and tell me what patterns you see or any repetitive material. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So everything's kind of happening in these little 2-measure patterns, right? You've got this little basic idea, dee da dee dum, dee da dee dum, da dee da da dee da. Then we do another 2, ya dee da dum, ba dee da dum, dee da dee dum, dee dum. And again, do you see that kind of middle C that we keep coming back to? That's a great landmark note just to be aware of, because if all else fails, just hit your thumb. And that'll be helpful. Let's take a look at the right hand part, just to give you a minute to read that. Where are you gonna go? What's my interval between here and here? Yes, excellent. For the most part, I've got a whole lot of what? What are these? Yes, exactly. I've got a whole lot of seconds, but every now and again, I've got these little thirds thrown in there. 1, 2, starting on C. Good. Excellent. Good job. That's it. Yes, and then you're just going to go back to C. Perfect. So let's try it now. Hands together. That was great reading. It's okay. We'll go a little slower.
Okay.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, Beautiful. And I was waiting to talk about legato till you played hands together, because I wanted to see if you would just do it when you weren't focusing so much on your notes, and you did. So what does that mean, that you played legato? Yeah. So you had started this way. And that's very natural when you're thinking of each individual note. But then when you actually played it as a piece a bit, you connected and you made that legato sound, which is great. Now, just for fun, let's go a little bit faster and let's see what happens if we add our dynamics right there. We're just gonna layer them in. This piano is not the most sensitive, so it might just be, think more relax up here, and then you can see if you can get a big, bolder sound down here. 1, 2, here we go. Good. That's it. Good. Now we're gonna play out. Excellent. That's a good one. Very good. Yeah, you got it. Awesome. Okay. So we learned our C major chord. There's only one other chord I want us to go over today, and then we're going to do some other stuff, and that is what we call basically an inverted chord. It's got two different names. Some books are going to call it G7. In the classical tradition, we would call it 5/7, and we would call C in the key of C 1. Do you know why? Is any of that familiar to you?
It's like kind of familiar.
Yeah, so I'll just go over it briefly. So in the classical tradition, when you're in a key center, so say we're in C major, no sharps, no flats, our very first note is C. So we call C scale degree 1. Another classical term for that is your tonic note. So kind of everything's going to swirl around C. The other really important note in all keys, whether you're in C or not, is going to be the 5th scale degree. And so, again, in the classical terminology, we would term this the dominant. That's kind of the fancy name for it. And that's always built on the 5th scale degree. And so that tells us that C major chord and C major and the tonic chord and then the G major chord and G major are going to probably be very important chords within the composition. So we're gonna look out for C's and G's. Now, in jazz tradition or if you're just reading sheet music, they don't do that. You're gonna see C, that's gonna name our bottom note, and you're gonna see G7. Now, the interesting thing about this G7 is what's your bottom note?
E.
Close. So if this is C, go the other way. Go down from C.
I don't know. Is it just,
Yeah,
I don't know.
you do.
It's not B.
Did you say
I
D?
said B, yeah.
I thought you said
really,
D.
I was really confused. I was like, wait.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's B. No, just what you need to feel more insecure. You know, yeah.
Just like, wait.
No, I thought you said D. I was like,
it's
oh, you went
okay.
the wrong way.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's B. Okay, so when we get to this 5/7 or G7 chord, the G lives on the very top. It's the very top note, and that's simply called an inversion, and that's because here, that's the whole chord. That's that nice, rich, seventh chord, basically. And so that we can get there quicker than having to pick up our hand, basically, we're just gonna invert it and drop a note. And so we're gonna use these tones with the exception of, and we're gonna reduce it down to 3 tones. And so now we're going from C major to our G7. I'm gonna keep my thumb on G, and there's my G7 chord. And you can see all thirds, and then in all of my 5/7 chords, the way that we're gonna learn them initially, what interval is at the top of my hand? Yes, a second. Yeah, so I went from a third to a second, and you're right. My pinky is dropping just a semitone or a half step. So that's my G7. And again, it's got a really distinct look. Like, it sticks out a lot, right? You can see that second up there. There's our root of the chord, that G, and then we're back to the C major. So I know that's way too much information, but you'll see these chords depending on what kind of music you're looking at. People will talk about them in different ways. So C chord, G7 chord, or tonic chord, 5/7 chord. So now let's feel what it's like to play it. And I think this is good because it breaks it up. So we've got our C, we're just playing those things, and we're breaking up, and then we're gonna feel that little moving down a half step to our 5/7, and then moving back up to 1, and then back to 5/7. Want to give that a try for the left hand? Good. Now feel that. Yes. Excellent. Good. Very good. Perfect. Now let's just play them blocked for a minute. You feel that C. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. Perfect. Excellent. So they've done it for you. I was gonna say we should notate the chords. I love this Largo theme. It's beautiful. If you ever get a chance, listen to Dvorak's New World Symphony. It's beautiful. You'll love it. It's got these luscious strings. So we're gonna take a look. What do these things do?
Connect, or just keep going.
Yes.
Take your hand off.
Right.
Okay.
Do you know what it's called? You know the important part, what it means. That's good. Oh. I didn't see that.
So
Okay, yeah. Here's what I'll do. I'll draw a bow. It's a tie.
Okay.
And you were right. It just means you're gonna play here,
Okay.
and then you would hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep holding. 2, 3, 4. So you're gonna hold for a total of 8 beats. The good thing is you just play the chord on that downbeat, but then you hold it the whole time. So this is this beautiful. I'll give you a little flavor. position. We're gonna improvise in a minute, not in C position. Get a different color in your ear. Excellent. And nice and slow, you're gonna start with 3 in your C chord. 1, 2, here we go. It's okay. That's it, keep holding left hand. Excellent reading, good. Now can you feel that 5, 7? Yes, so good. Take your time. Uh-huh. 2, 3, back to 3 with the C. Good. That's it. To the G7. Good. Yeah, that's it. Good. Yes. Excellent. Okay. So let's just practice getting those C and G7s under our hand this week. Then we do it in the right hand. I don't think that's going to be too terrible of a switch for you, but let me see. Let's just try for fun this little exercise here. Can you try that C chord for the right hand? Again. Good. Now what happens here? Yes. Excellent, Isabel. That's it. Back to C. To rest again. Excellent. Feel that slide. Yes. Excellent job. Now we'll pick up the pace and we'll pulse them. 1, 2, here we go. 1. So it's just got to get used to the shapes. That's the idea. Excellent. Okay. So let's take a look for next time, just again to kind of really feel these chords. This will come quickly. I know this will come quickly too, but I want to give your brain and your body a chance to absorb it all. Look through this one too, again, and this will be good for some left-hand reading. So on that note, let's just have a little note drill here. What's this? The letter name. And it's okay if you need a hint. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. That's an E. All right. I'm going up a third to G. I'm going down a fifth to C. Excellent. E. Yes. E. D. Yes. Excellent. We'll do one more line. What's this? D. Yes. F. E. D. Yes. Good. Good. You can use all the tools if you need to. You can see that it's skipping, or you can think of whatever you need to think of to name the note. D. C. C. Excellent job. Okay. Very good. Okay. So then again, you can see right away that G7 in the right hand, C. It's a really quick way. So this is a cool transition because we did a little bit of 12-bar blues last time. And so we're going to move there because 12-bar blues, all we're doing, like in the context of the key of C, we're just adding kind of that blues 7. And so again, we've got our C major triad, and now we're just adding actually another third up from that, and that's kind of what gives it that color. And actually, in this, we are playing a G7. So we're playing C7. Sorry, I know so much from shape when I'm playing jazz. I'm just playing my G7 in a different inversion, so you can see here's that G. So we're used to playing our 5/7 this way. guess I'm trying to show you, we're gonna hear that C chord with a little color in it, and we're gonna hear another G7 chord just in a different inversion. And really, all you have to know for 12-bar blues are 3 chords, 2 of which we've learned today. C, I'm gonna add my 7, and then F, which we went over, I add my 7, and then G, and I add that last third. I'm calling it the 7th, by the way. That comes from, this is my root, and I count up 7 notes. That's what gives it that term 7th. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just letting you know what's gonna happen underneath you. And we'll do a game of copycat again. So let's go ahead and put your hand, I'm gonna put you on the few notes of the blues scale, 1, 3, 4, and 5 right there. Yeah, perfect. And you'll just copy a little pattern, and then we'll have some fun with it. Okay, let's see. Let me get this little pattern going. That's F7. Here's my C7. Okay, so my right hand's gonna play. Your turn. Good job. Turn. You can't make a mistake. With your ears and your rhythm and everything else. Now, let's take it just a step further, and let's see what happens if I play a pattern. You answer back with a different pattern, but we're just gonna stick with those same notes. And again, you can't, if you play your 2, it's fine. You can't really go wrong. If you can, stick to 1, 3, 4, and 5, but just have fun with it and just use your ear and just know it's just about trying to feel the music in your body a little bit. All right, let's see. We'll just keep the same little rhythm going just for consistency. All right, I'm gonna take a turn. Now your turn. Good. Now I'm gonna take a turn. Sorry. Now you more music in you
Yeah.
than you can express right now with just where, you know, it's your third piano lesson. Okay, awesome job. Now, let's do just a little bit, just have a few more minutes. Just want to take a quick look at some sight reading, only because we're going to go over some of the things that we did in your lesson today, just as a way of wrapping up and how it all applies. Let me just find those little C chords. Ah, here we go. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so what are these notes doing?
Stepping.
Excellent. How about this interval here? You got it, good. What do we call this?
Chord.
Yeah, what's the name of it? You got it, it's a C major chord. Excellent job. So we're gonna read 34, but before we do, let's just tap out loud and count the rhythm. We'll do it just like we did Jingle Bells. We'll try to count both parts and just tap on our legs. And that way it just puts it in our body. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Can you find your hand position? Here, you got it. Perfect. Yeah, we'll go nice and slow. We'll go a little slower than we tapped it. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. 2 with a second. Yes. Second finger. Good. 4. You got it. Third finger and C chord. Rest. Awesome. Good job. Good job. And I'm just remembering now, I'm going to make a note. Next week we need to start with your classical piece.
Okay,
I think we get there. Okay. We can start with that. Do you feel like you're good? Do you have any questions?
I think so. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it feels okay?
Yeah.
It's about the right amount of
Yeah.
stuff? Okay. Perfect. Okay, so next week we start with Rameau. I think that's the
Yes.
composer.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right, girl, listen, have a good weekend.
Thank you. You
Try and
too.
take care. Don't work too hard. All that
Yeah.
good stuff.
Try to
Start
skip
with
stuff.
Rameau. Did that kind of come back to you as you were in the practice room? Like, could you get your way through it?
The practice? Wait.
The piece?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
okay.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah,
I just-
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Do you have to now go schlep it?